Okay, so this is where we get to the kind of technical stuff, but don't really worry too much about it, because it may not make sense at the very, very beginning, but it'll make sense by the time I get to the end. And that is that in every public opinion poll, there are two numbers that are sort of associated with that poll. One of them is called the confidence level of the public opinion poll. And the confidence level of a public opinion poll, what the confidence level tells you is how, it indicates how confident the pollster is that the sample is representative. How confident they are that the sample is representative. Usually most public opinion polls are where the confidence level is either 90% or 95%. And what that basically means is that we're 95% confident that we're close to what the population actually thinks. 95% confident that whatever our answer was when we asked people, do you approve or disapprove of the job President Obama is doing, for example, when we say we have a 95% confidence level, that means that we're 95% confident that we're within it, that our estimate is within a certain range of what the population actually thinks. Now don't worry about that, hold on to that thought. There's also something called the margin of error, and this is really important. The margin of error is hugely important, as you're about to find out. The margin of error indicates how close we think our estimate is to the actual what we call the true value of the population. The margin of error says gives an estimate of how close we think our estimate is to the actual truth. How close did we get to the actual truth? And when I say the truth, I mean sort of like if we take a public opinion poll, and let's say we ask people, do you approve or disapprove of the job President Obama is doing? And let's say 43% say they approve. Do we know that 43% approve? Well, no. We don't know for sure. The only way we know for sure is we could, ask God, hey God, by the way, we just want to know, do 43% actually approve? And if God says, well, actually you're off by 4 points or something like that, then we know that we're off. But God's not available to public opinion pollsters, so we never know for sure whether our estimate is good or bad. We can only estimate whether it's good or bad. So we have our confidence level. That's how confident we are that our sample is good. And then our margin of error indicates how close we think we are to the truth. So let me go ahead and give you an example. If you look on your lecture notes, you'll see an example. So I want you to imagine you're looking at a public opinion poll, and the public opinion poll asked people, randomly selected, do you approve or disapprove of the job President Obama is doing? And in this particular poll, 55% say they approve, and 45% say they disapprove. Now, here's the important part. The confidence level in this public opinion poll is 95%. The margin of error is plus or minus 3%. This is what the public opinion poll is really telling you. It's saying that the pollster is 95% confident that somewhere between 58% and 52% approve of the job President Obama is doing. Now, how did I get 58 and 52? Remember I said the margin of error is plus or minus 3, right? So in that poll, 55% said that they approved of the job President Obama is doing. Well, if you add 3 to 55, that's 58. If you subtract 3 from 55, that's 52. It's actually called the confidence interval. You don't need to worry about that. That's called the confidence interval. What the public opinion poll is really saying, when you add in the confidence level and the margin of error, is that we are 95% confident that somewhere between 58 and 52% approve of the job President Obama is doing. Now, in the poll this example I gave you, 45% said they disapprove. Well, what does that really mean? Well, the process is exactly the same. What you do is you take your margin of error of plus or minus 3, and you add it to 45, and you subtract it from 45, and what you get is that that poll says that we're 95% confident that somewhere between 48% and 42% disapprove of the job President Obama is doing. So on the public opinion polls, they may say, yeah, so 55 approve, 45 disapprove, right? That's what people on TV might tell you. But the people doing the polls, they know what that poll really means. It means that we're 95% confident that 58 to 52% approve, and we're 95% confident that 48 and 42% disapprove. So now what I want you to do is I want you to, based on that, I want you to calculate these numbers on your own. Same poll, so we're going to assume that 55 approve, 45 disapprove. Oh no, this one is, if the presidential election were held today, would you vote for President Obama or Mitt Romney? I'm assuming that Mitt Romney is going to be the Republican nominee, so if this is being seen in the future, I'm either a genius, because I could tell the future, or I'm an idiot, and Rick Santorum got the nomination, or somebody else did, but I'm suspecting it's going to be Mitt Romney. If in that poll there was a 95% confidence level and a margin of error of plus or minus 4, then what would that poll really be saying? So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this, and I want you to fill in the 2 blanks on your lecture notes. Okay, so go ahead and pause this. I will wait for you. Well, if you paused it and you've worked out the calculations, what you should wind up having seen is that in that public opinion poll, we are 95% confident that somewhere between 59% and 51% will vote for Obama, and we're 95% confident that somewhere between 49% and 41% will vote for Romney, based on those polls. That's what that public opinion poll really says. Now, the reason that I talk about this so much, and I want you to understand this, is because of the next poll and the results that I'm going to show you now. And you're going to have to figure out these on your own as well. Suppose it says, if the presidential election were held today, would you vote for Obama or Romney? But in this case, the results are 52% say they'll vote for Romney, 48% say that they'll vote for Obama. The confidence level is still 95%. Most public opinion polls are 95%. And the margin of error, though, the margin of error this time is plus or minus 5 points. Plus or minus 5 points. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead, and once again, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to work out what the results are on your on that thing. So go ahead and pause it and work out the numbers. Okay, so based on that poll, we would say that we're 95% confident that somewhere between 57% and 47% support will vote for Romney. I did say the margin of error is plus or minus 5, right? Okay, hopefully I said it, plus or minus 5. But it would be 57% and 47% will vote for Romney. We're 95, as far as Obama, we're 95% confident that somewhere between 53% and 43% are going to support or vote for Obama, right? We have a 5% margin of error. So all I did was I added 5 to Romney's score, went from 52 to 57. I subtracted 5 from Romney's score, so it went from 52 to 47, and I did the same thing with Obama. Based on that poll, who's ahead in the race? Can you tell who's ahead in the race? If you said, yes, you can tell, you're mistaken. But it's okay. Don't worry about this, because this is what we're here to learn. If you look at the results on the piece of paper that you wrote down, based on that public opinion poll, it could be that 57% support Romney, and did I do the numbers wrong? And 43% support Obama. So it could be that 53% 5, so 57% support Romney, and it could be that 43% support Obama, which would mean Romney's way ahead. But it could also mean that 53% support Obama and 47% support Romney. Both of those things are possible based on this poll. Romney could be ahead, or Obama can be ahead. And the reason it's like that is because even though they're within 4 percentage points of one another, so Romney's ahead based on just looking at that, the margin of error is so big that it could be that Romney's anywhere between, as I said, 57% to 47%, and Obama is anywhere between 53% and 43%. So it could be Romney's ahead 57 to 43. It could be that Obama's ahead 53 to 47. We don't know. Based on that poll, we have no idea who's ahead. And what that means is that the closer that a race is, a presidential race, or any kind of race, the more useless the poll is. If you've got two people who are in a race and they're within 1 or 2 percentage points from one another, unless that margin of error is very, very small, you're never going to know who's ahead. Now, if you go ahead and you do, if they take a poll and Romney's ahead 52-48, with a margin of error plus or minus 5, you can't trust that. But if a second poll has Romney ahead 51-47, and then a third poll has him up 53-47, and then there's another poll, and you have 3 or 4 polls in a row where Romney's ahead by a little, then you can assume Romney's ahead. But based on that one poll, you have no idea who's ahead and who's behind. Now, why then, the question is, do the journalists and the people on TV report the poll as if Romney's ahead? Well, what would happen if they went ahead and said, we took a poll, now I'm doing my journalist voice, we took a poll, and based on our poll, we're 95% confident that somewhere between 57% and 47% support Romney, and somewhere between 53% and 43% support Obama. Why don't they do that? Because as soon as they do that, since most people haven't taken my class, you're going to feel stupid. And when you're watching TV and they make you feel stupid, what do? You go, click, click, I'm going to watch Family Guy, because they never make me feel stupid. Maybe they make me feel stupid because I laugh their stupid jokes, but they don't make me feel dumb. And so public opinion, so new journalists, they'll go ahead and they'll give you the simple answer. They'll just give you the simple answer that's easiest to understand, even though basically it's not true. So sometimes people say, well, public opinion polls are awful. This poll said one thing, this poll said something completely different. Well, the problem isn't the poll. The problem is the people reporting the poll, because they don't really understand it. But now, you do. Now, next time you watch the public opinion poll, if you ever see a public opinion poll on TV or in the newspaper or on the internet, and they don't show you the margin of error, ignore it. And that finishes this section. We're going to move on to another part.